What up, y'all? Okay, so this happened.
Is the message so anti-men? I didn't do anything to you. He wasn't very nice, but this happened. He harassed me. That is sexual harassment. That is intimidation. But he wasn't that nice. Don't fucking put it off like it's nothing. It's not nothing. You're just so privileged that you don't fucking experience this on a day-to-day basis. No, it's not all men. It's enough fucking men. Did you read the women's stories in my comment section? It is enough fucking men. And it does become all men when your priorities are set with fucking defending those pieces of shit than listening to the actual problem at hand, because you'd rather derail the conversation and make yourself seem like a marginally acceptable human being when in reality is you actually want to defend abusers rather than actually confront them. So excuse me for saying trip over a fucking knife.
Now, hold on before you assume that the story that she's talking about was something that was a no-brainer, that this would lead to such a huge outburst where she's not only telling me to kill myself, right? Trip over a knife, that means kill yourself, which is actual abuse. And if she was intimidating, would be actual intimidation. But here is the original video that I commented, my comment that she's responding to, where I say question mark, question mark, question mark. Why is this so anti-men? Because I wanted to know why is this so anti-men? So here's the original video.
I'm done with men. I'm done. Not like this experience solidified it or anything, but it just happened. So let's delve in, shall we? Walking down the street, just got my nails done, and I hear this car with really loud bass like coming up behind me, and it's so loud I can hear it like a block away, and it's getting like closer, and then it goes in front of me and it stops, and it like pulls over to the side of the road and stops, and I'm like, that's sus to me because I prepare for the worst. Notice this, I take out my phone, I hold my little Moonlight app so it'll send an alarm in case anything bad happens to me, and sure enough, dude is waiting for me to walk by so that he can yell at me and ask if he can take me out sometime. And when I don't respond and I keep walking, he pulls up next to me and continues moving next to me in his car, being like, you sure? And I'm like, I have a boyfriend. He's like, are you sure you have a boyfriend? I'm like, yes, I'm fucking sure I'm in a relationship, you jack. Fuck men.
So as you can see, I didn't hear anything that happened in this story that calls for
Fuck men.
just all men, like basically calls for me and other men to be lumped together with this catcalling person. And so I commented under the I commented again. I commented on the reply where she had my comment up here on this side of the screen. I commented and I asked more questions because I have more questions now. And I'm not offended by any of the I'm not offended by her telling me to kill myself or anything like that. I'm just curious. I'm curious as to what is all of this. I wanted to ask more questions. Here's my more questions. I said, I didn't defend abusers though. You have my comment highlighted in this reel, but the only thing in my comments are two questions, right? Fuck men is one question, and the other question is, why is this so anti-men? So two questions and a statement that spells the reason for my two questions, which is that I, a man, haven't done anything to be lumped together with this catcalling person. So I have new questions. New questions. How is this not worse than the intimidation you experienced in the catcall exchange? This display of
Trip over a fucking knife.
how is this not worse than what you experienced, if what you experienced is what you said you experienced? Another question. You telling me to trip over a knife is actual abuse, much worse than catcalling, much worse than the real example. Can I take you out sometime? And she eventually, I have a boyfriend. Are you sure you have a boyfriend? This trip over a fucking knife is much worse than that. If you look at word for word, if you put the two statements up next to each other, or tones of voice, like perceived tone of voice of the catcalling person from how she told the story was not on the same level of attempted intimidation as her attempted intimidation into her mirror. So I say you telling me to trip over a knife, which means kill myself, is actual abuse much worse than catcalling. Are you sure that that makes you qualified to determine what a marginally acceptable human is? I feel this is a fair question. What do you think? And I'm also curious as to if abuse is a problem, right? Abuse of any kind is a problem. Then, why is the solution telling someone who is commenting on your post questions and a statement? Why does that call for more and like worse abuse? Because there's the catcalling and following, I guess, following for a block or two, maybe, I don't know. In her story, not in your story. If you watching right now happens to be a woman who has a story that's worse than this that has happened to you, not your story, but her story. This person went up, stopped, waited, yelled, as she put it, or catcalled, whatever. He said, "Can I take you out sometime?" She said she said no by just ignoring it, keeping walking. And then he started to harass her and say, started to follow, and she's, says, "I have a boyfriend," or whatever. And he's, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" Well, I mean, she didn't spell out exactly how it ended, but it seems he drove away because she said this just happened, and she's still walking. So it doesn't seem like anything aside from that happened in this particular story. And so I'm wondering, right, if abuse is an issue, then why do I or anybody who, like me, comes across your video and says, fuck all men, or excuse me, fuck men in general, what's that about? What's this anti-men thing? I didn't do anything to you. I'm curious.
Trip over a fucking knife.
What's that?